with the motor about to go in for the final time, I think, I hope. I'll find a good spot for you guys to sit and we'll get this done, hey? I better take this bloody rad support out too before I go jam the motor into that. Let's do this. You know what, I've always, I don't know what it is, I don't know if I've ever had help putting an engine in, ever. I've always just done it by myself, so I kind of got the knack down now, but definitely a lot easier with two people. Is come down quite a ways. Guys, that's us. We're in. Now it's not sitting as far back still as it probably could. It needs to be probably another inch or so, but that's really all I can get for these engine mounts. So that's going to have to be its home for now. We might go grab the radiator and just hold it up in there and just see where it sits, but that's it for now. Righto, we're currently under here trying to work out something with this engine mount, with this gearbox mount, sorry. It does have to go over slightly, but yeah, it's going to be difficult, being that the gearbox is actually slightly lower than the mounting points on the body. So I had bought a hard race standard rubber mount for here, but it was actually for a later model R154, not the early model. So it didn't fit, which is probably good because it would have brought it down to about here and made it the lowest point. So I'm really not sure how I'm going to do this. But what I do want to try and incorporate is either A, these, obviously cut these tubes down and use these as like a bit of a rubber bush, or I've got some like kind of probably maybe 10 mil, 8 mil, 10 mil, really hard rubber kind of packing that I may be able to use as a bit of a bush. Now I'm okay with this being solid mounted, but being that the engine isn't completely solid, it does have some movement, I do think it's a good idea that I have some movement in the gearbox, because otherwise it's just going to crack mounts. So I will be making that slightly bushed. Doesn't have to be soft or anything like that, but yeah. So I'm just going to sit here for a while and just see what I can come up with, see what the best option is, and yeah, I'll get back to you when I've got a bit more of an idea. So this is what I've come up with. It's a little bit of a monstrosity really, but it will work. So essentially what's happening is these two plates are sandwiched with these little rubber packers, so it will have some movement. Now, albeit it probably won't be a great deal, it'll be better than nothing, and I dare say it'll probably stop it from cracking. If not, then obviously I'm going to have to revise. But yeah, basically I've just got to weld these two bits, and I will probably maybe like a bit of a gusset on the top here, and I'll definitely do a gusset like down here. I'm not sure whether I want to sort of like, you know, do a little bit of an extra gusset across here just for a bit of support. I don't think it'll really need it, but I mean, I'd rather do it now and it not be an issue. I was going to just lob this little bit here off the end and just kind of clean it up so it's a bit smoother, but I don't know if I'm going to be bothered. Doesn't need it. So yeah, I'll drag the welder over here and get to welding, I suppose. So this is what I've ended up coming up with. Now you can see in here there's like a rubber packing bush. It is a bit of a Frankenstein of a thing, but it works and it's isolated from vibration, so it shouldn't crack or anything like that, which is good. Now I don't think I've shown you guys, obviously the fuel lines I've had to remount. They're kind of just up out the way as much as they can. They previously ran, you can see the little holes here, and the line itself didn't actually have any scuffs on it, but the old P-clamps that the bloke had used, where it had came down here, because obviously this part here hits the ground, as you can see, so it was just touching the ground, so I wasn't happy with running it here where there's going out the right way. Wasn't happy with running it here where the section of rail is taken out for the crumple zone. So yeah, I've tucked it up in here as best I can. It's going to be away from the tail shaft. Yeah, so that's about where we're at with that. So it's been a few days. Don't really know where we're at. I don't even know what I've shown you. Guess we'll get into this, where the power steering pump, you can sort of see that, is pretty well, it is all plumbed up. Got a few extra wires put in here, like that's the stereo wires hanging over there. I've mounted the fire extinguisher, got the harnesses back in, because obviously there'll be no cage to start with. The car will go out for a few laps. do a bit of driving, get it sort of dialed in before the cage and everything is ordered and will go in. I have got the switches on the way for the windows. Probably can see them in there, I guess, the wires hanging out for the stereo, for the speakers. Got all those ran. Just got to put the hose on here, the return hose, because I will this afternoon be fitting up the rest of the lines. So I have the GK Tech braided lines for the high pressure side of the rack. Basically goes from like sort of where the shaft comes in round to the actual rack itself. What else have we done here? These two bottom ones then plumbed in. Basically, yeah, all the lines are all plumbed. I've got a fitting on there for the clutch line. I've basically got a 180 for the master cylinder, the slave cylinder, sorry. And I've got the 90 for the master on the way, and I'll get some hose at the same time. What else have we done? I think that's probably about it really in the engine bay. But I guess the big news is this is gone. Well, clearly it's not, it's still here, but this will be picked up in a few hours. Did the deal with a bloke last week. They basically come and had a look, offered a reasonable amount. Probably would have liked a little bit more, but at the end of the day I'm not going to finish it. It's just going to end up sitting here. So yeah, it's basically ready to go. I've sort of tidied everything up around it. You can sort of get down around it now. So basically, yeah, he's coming. It's got the front end back on. He's basically coming with some wheels and some rear struts, and going to put it back down on the ground and put it on the trailer, and sayonara, which that has allowed me to order the ECU and wiring loom for the Sylvia. I've also got radiator, injectors, fuel rail, and I think like cam seals, like cam cover seals, throttle body gasket. I reckon that's about it. So probably about 90% done with this car. Obviously not at the moment, I'm still waiting for the ECU and stuff, so I've still got to do the wiring and everything like that, so there's still a little bit to go yet, but it's kind of going to be left down to things like tail shaft. I've got 5-stud rear hubs for the back, so I'm going to go 5-stud on the rear and leave the 4-stud on the front for now, and basically get another set of wheels, and then at least I'll have a pair for the rear. And then eventually go 5-stud all round, obviously, but for now, yeah, that'll do. Yeah, got to get a passenger seat rail. Yeah, it's not going to be a whole heap of stuff that's going to be done, need to be done from that point on. The power, like I said, the power steering will be working tonight. Yeah, basically once I get the ECU and everything like that, all the coil packs and everything will go back in, fuel rail will be on, injectors in. I've just finished cleaning this up. Just had to cut the wastegate that was on there off, so I've got to weld a V-band onto here so the wastegate can be bolted on. Obviously still need to get a wastegate yet, but while I was doing all that I thought I'd double check the face, and what do you know, it's warped to shit. So looking at the manifold, like you can see, you know, that wasn't really done by someone that makes manifolds for a living, that's for sure. So they obviously haven't bolted it to anything and stopped it warping. So yeah, it's definitely warped. So yeah, we'll be getting that faced. This is just a temporary manifold. Eventually I'll get a better one, but for the time being this will do. Like I said, not trying to make any massive sort of power goals or anything like that, so it's not going to hold me up in any way. So yeah, that's about where we're at. So I'll show you the driveway garage once this car's gone, and where the Silvia's going to sort of sit up on its stands until kind of, I guess, the exhaust and everything like that's done. And yeah, kind of once everything underneath's done, like exhaust and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it's pretty much going to go on the ground. Now I have sold the GK Tech RCA knuckle things, whatever you call them. I don't know, not a big fan of them. I'm going to do some cut and shuts, extend the lower control arms, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, basically once it goes up on the stands, the front end will sort of come apart a little bit. Yeah, we'll sort of get stuck into doing a bit of that stuff, and then yeah, once it gets back on the ground, to be honest, it'll probably go out the front and get sanded down, and yeah, get it ready for some paint. So I don't know whether I want to get it running and get it tuned first and then get the paint sorted. Don't know, I may not paint it straight away, I may take it out first, we'll see how we go. But yeah, that's where we're at. So we now have room. No more IS. It's just the Silvia in here now. So basically get all this dust cleaned up from the last year or so of this thing sitting in here, and yeah, we'll move the Silvia over and go from there. So here we are. Not sure if I've shown you guys the final position of the car yet, but excuse the boxes up here. Just some wheels for a mate. Basically got a lot more room now. Still got a lot of crap laying around that I'm not really sure where to put, but it'll do for now. Definitely a lot more room in here. Got these little 13-inch wheels that I've got for a mate. Well, I picked them up for him anyway. I've got to go take them in and get them refurbished. So yeah, we basically got the car up on the stands. I plumbed the electric power steering up and got all that working, which is really cool. It all seems to work fine. However, I came out this morning, did it last night or yesterday afternoon, came out this morning to find a puddle of power steering fluid on the ground. So turns out the rack is leaking, which I kind of did suspect it was going to. Yeah, there being that the guy was running it dry with no power steering, I either assumed that it was A, leaking and that's why he was doing that, or B, that's going to cause it to leak, stuff the seals and whatnot. So yeah, at the moment we have the front off. Yeah, basically coilovers aren't in the greatest condition. I do want to get some new ones, but I think for now I'll just leave them in there and just get it out there and replace those little bits and pieces later down the track. I don't want to get too carried away just replacing everything and as I do. So yeah, got knuckles here, hubs off. We'll drop them off to get cut and shut. I've ordered the piece to weld in to extend these 25mm I think I went with, and then it's basically, yeah, got like gussets and everything. It's like $50, comes with the little pieces and all the gussets and everything. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy that rather than trying to make my own bit. It's easy enough. These are the kooky bloody weird GK Tech sort of strange offset bloody rack thing. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, so that's being sold. So yeah, basically, yeah, it'll be extend the lower control arms, knuckles, and then I'll just use a S13 outer tie rod end. I'm just going to leave those coilovers for now, like I said. I will re-drill the rotors eventually and put the 5-star hubs on, just being that they're brand new rotors. I might price up some ball joints and put new ball joints in, but those ones aren't too bad. It's getting there slowly. So yeah, I reckon we'll leave that video where it is here and keep this one a little bit short. It's a bit of an update, but yeah, like I said earlier, once we get the ECU, things like that, yeah, we'll get stuck into it and get some more content for you boys and girls.